Hey guys, Leroy Jenkins here. It's been a while since I've graced the internet with my, let's face it, beautiful beard. Like, that's the only distinguishable quality I really have. Anyway, so two quick things. One, Tommy Robinson has been freed. I didn't really comment on it before when he was forced to arrest because I didn't really understand. I didn't know if there was legitimacy behind the claim that he was basically causing a scene or basically trespassing, and I don't know English law, so I couldn't really comment on it. So I wanted to make a video about how I thought it was wrong or weird. For instance, how the fact that he basically didn't really get a trial, and apparently the judge was laughing at him as he got arrested. There's published photos of that. So I don't really want to comment on it because I didn't know much about it, but now it has come out that the British version of the Supreme Court, one of the lords apparently, has agreed that this was not done correctly, the trial was a sham, and because England doesn't have something called double jeopardy laws like the United States does, he can be tried again. And so they're going to try him again to see if he, I don't know what the heck they're saying he did, but hopefully it'll be somewhat of a fair trial. But I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think they're going to give him a slap on the wrist, something to show that he's wrong in some respect, but it's going to be like what they did to, oh my gosh, how am I forgetting his name? Count Dankula. How Count Dankula had to pay a fine or something like that. It's probably something along those lines, and hopefully Tommy will fight it. So we're going to hope he does that. But Tommy Robinson is free. This is a victory for centrist and right-leaning people and anyone who actually cares, honestly, about due process and fairness, which, again, these days tends to be centrist and people leaning to the right. And secondly, the New York Times has outed themselves as actually racist. Like, legitimately okay with racism. Now, I like to play a little game when I'm trying to figure some controversial things out. I look at the situation and I replace it with something else. And I try to judge it based on that. So if you have, let's take the Bakos for instance. I looked at the Bako situation in which they didn't sell the cake to the homosexual couple. And I asked myself, would I be okay with them if they didn't sell it to a white couple because of white, or a black couple because of black? And I had to think long and hard about it, but in the end of the day, I decided that business has the right to refuse service on any grounds. And that was tough for me to think about for a while, but in the end I got it. But the New York Times apparently doesn't play this game, because there was this woman they hired who has said things such as cancel white people, or she enjoys being cruel to old white men, so stay away from my grandfather and my father, please, because don't be mean to them, they've gone through enough already. She says that white people should live underground like goblins and haven't contributed almost anything to society. So she's obviously a racist against white people, and the New York Times is okay with that. And if in case you need to prove my point, if you're thinking, oh no, it's okay because some social justice bullcrap, you have to think about how you would feel if she said cancel black people, or I enjoy being cruel to old black men. Now, I would be just as outraged if anyone said that. If they were a Trump supporter like me and they said that kind of stuff, like, whoa, dude, what are you saying? That's not cool. Why are you going to be cruel to people based on the skin color? That's not okay. But the New York Times is apparently okay with it. They acknowledge the fact they knew about those tweets apparently they were from 2013 to 2015. They knew about them, and they were going to hire her anyway. They say that's not going to be tolerated, blah, 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 blah. But you have to ask yourself, would they have hired her if she said about black people, about Mexicans, about any other minority, about anyone else besides white people? The answer, of course, we know, and they shouldn't. They should not hire someone who says that at all, especially for something like the editorial board, which is, I'm guessing, pretty high up there. You shouldn't hire someone until they delete their tweets or something along those lines, or make a public apology and broadcast it as fast and wide as they can before they're hired. You shouldn't hire someone who says, if you're going to be doing something like the New York Times, you shouldn't be hiring anyone who says anything racially disparaging, or whatever, however it's said, at all. And if you're going to, you're understandably going to catch some flack, because that's just wrong. But the New York Times is okay with it, so that's... I never buy it from them, but I'm going to judge people now. No, I won't. But I'm going to think it's a little bit weird that you're going to buy something from the New York Times. I'm just going to assume that either you didn't know about this story or that you're okay with it. And I'm going to just assume that you didn't know about it. And for Tommy Robinson, he is free. We're going to see what's happening. I'm guessing he's going to get a slap on the wrist. I hope he will fight. That would cost him a lot of money and more of his precious time. And it will make his life more miserable than it needs to be. Apparently, he lost 40 pounds in weight because he refused to eat, because inmates who were Muslim were the ones cooking for him, and he didn't trust them to cook his food right, because apparently the very first night they came up to him and said, "Did you enjoy your food?" So that kind of implies there's malice. So honestly, if anyone said that to me in such a way in prison, I'd be a little bit skeptical of the food. And apparently they shoved fecal matter through his windows, and spat him through his windows. He'd had to have him closed, and he was kept in solitary confinement for his own protection. So he lost 40 pounds, basically barely saw the light of day. For what? So, I don't get it, but he's free, probably get a slap on the wrist. New York Times is racist. Leroy Jenkins signing off.